Today is February 9, 2023. This is the meeting of the Kubernetes Storage Special Interest Group. As a reminder, this meeting is public, recorded, and posted on YouTube. So we're going to go over the agenda today, starting with 127 planning, and then we'll move on to any PRs to discuss, design reviews, and then miscellaneous items. If you have anything that you want us to discuss, please feel free to add to the agenda, and you can find the link in your calendar invite. So with that, we're going to switch over to the planning spreadsheet. Reminder that today is the enhancement freeze. And the next upcoming milestone is going to be to the 14th of March, which will be code freeze for this 127 release. And so with that, I'll go ahead and switch over to our planning sheet, and we can get started getting status updates on the items that folks are working on. I'd be curious to see which ones we were able to make the kept freeze for the enhancement freeze and which ones we weren't. So with that, let's get started. First up, I think I see Jing on the call. We have recovering from resize failures, end-to-end tests. Hemant or Jing, either of you on the call?
Oh, yes. So I think this is a cap, right? And the amount is driving this cap, and the Yang is reviewing.
If I may add something, we decided to update the API to accommodate the changes for quality of service. And that's why it's going to stay alpha in this release. It will not graduate. I think Hemant is updating the cap, but since it's going to stay alpha, we don't need any PRR.
Got it.
I think the cap is already merged.
Even better.
Cool. Thank you, folks. So it was alpha. It's going to stay alpha. I'm going to change that. And so the additional work here is incorporating QoS.
Oh, not really. Just open the API so QoS can be added easily.
Got it.
And we can graduate the recovery from resize failures early. And we don't need to wait for QoS to be GA.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jan. All right, let's move to the next item. Issues related to assuming mount volumes or mount points. Anything new on this one?
So we do, I think, discuss this type of issues in the CSI triage meeting. And we have some thoughts and ideas how to improve this. And I'm trying to find in our side, anyone can volunteer to work on this.
Cool. Thank you, Jing. And if anybody on the call is interested in volunteering, looking for a place to jump in on kind of bug level issues to help with, this might be a good opportunity. So please reach out to Jing or one of the leads and we can help you get started. Thank you, Jing. Next is volume group API. Been seeing some good progress here. Sheng, you want to update?
Yeah, so the cap is finally merged, so made it. And the CSI spec, so thanks Saad and Ben, you approved it. This morning, I found some new comments from James. So I'm just looking at that, have not got a chance to address his comments yet. I think mainly he still has some concerns on the deletion API, maybe I know we added a lot of comments on the group ID. Sometimes we need that, sometimes we don't. So I think he has some question, and then he has some questions on the GET API as well. So I will take a closer look and address that later today. But he did say that it's getting closer to the finish line. So hopefully we can wrap this up soon.
Cool. Thank you, Shing. This is huge.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for helping the reviews.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next item is provisioning volumes from cross namespace snapshot PVC. Any updates on this one?
I don't see much. I've seen they opened an issue. The author for the CAP opened some issue on the volume populator repo, but I don't remember seeing any PRs open yet.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on this. Thank you, Shing. Next up is CSI volume health, additional metrics and or events. This is moving to beta.
I think we missed this. The E2E test is still not ready. Ryan is working on it, but it's just there was a work in progress PR, but I don't think he has finished that yet.
Okay, so I'll change this back to alpha for now and then
Okay.
target beta next time.
Yeah.
Change block tracking, targeting alpha this cycle. Did we get that kept in?
No, I don't know if Yvonne or anyone here. So we're still discussing it. There are still some issues on, which is the right way to go. I think we are now decide now to go through this the aggregated API server way, but I think still being discussed in the data protection working group meeting. I don't know if Ben is on the call or anyone because yesterday I couldn't join the call yesterday, but I know yesterday they were still discussing this.
Got it. Cool. Thank you, Shing. Yeah, this is a complicated one, so it makes sense that there's still outstanding questions here.
Yeah.
We'll keep it in design for this cycle.
Okay.
And move to the next one. New RWO access mode. Moving alpha to beta. Any cap on that one?
I think that got merged.
Nice.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, so that looks like it's on track. Next is runtime assisted mounting. This was trying to go to alpha this cycle. I think this is put on hold. Is Deep or anybody else on the line who knows about this?
I just know it's moved to 128.
So-
yeah, I don't
so-
see.
So I think the status looks like it's still same as last time. Ben reviewed the CSI spec PR, and Deep said he's going to update it based on the comments, but I have not seen an update on the CSI spec yet.
Yep, that makes sense. So I think we'll keep this in design for this cycle. Cool. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Shing. Next is CSI proxy for Windows transition to privileged containers. This is out of tree work, trying to go to alpha. Looks like Mauricio is assigned to this. Deep reviewed it. Anybody know if KEP got merged? Jing, do you happen to know about the CSI proxy work?
I don't think it's get merged yet.
Got it. So the KEP is still open.
And is there any cap? Can anybody please add the link?
So this one is not being tracked because this is like we're not following the deadline, the Kubernetes deadline. So that's why it's not.
Let me find it and I will add it there.
Is the KEP even needed then if it's out of
I think we still decided to do a cap. There
Okay.
is, I believe there was a cap, but I have never reviewed it. So
Got it.
I believe that the decision is we do need to write the the design
Okay.
thing in the CAP. That's why we need a CAP, but we don't need to go through the formal deadline thing.
So we'll still target 127 since this is out of tree. Is that an accurate summary?
Yeah, we're not really following any particular release, I think, since this is
Got
out of tree, right? I don't know. Yeah, I think we say did you say alpha? Oh yeah, maybe okay, yeah, maybe that's right. 1.27. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sheng. Next is node expansion secret. This was alpha to beta. End-to-end tests, work in progress. Plan is to get ready by Monday. Anything new on this one?
So this is something we want to discuss. This one is getting very close. There is a E3 test. So the only thing is it's an alpha test. So we basically need to add this one to the alpha job. That PR just got moved. So after this meeting, later on this afternoon, I will see basically need to trigger that job to see if the job the test shows up in the test group. That's one thing we need before we merge the CAP. But since the deadline is today, right? So if there's anything goes wrong, both Humble and Luis, who is working on this one, they are in a different time zone. They're done for today.
Got it.
So we were discussing this with Yang and also Michelle before she left. We were talking about whether we want to just get this merged, just grant an exception from our side. Michelle actually mentioned that she has seen some CAPs. There are other SIGs, they are not really as strict. They are not requiring E3 test. They're just looking at the unit test before they merge a beta CAP. So yeah, that's the thing I want to discuss because I don't want to be too vague that we don't know, what is the process there, right? But this one is definitely getting very close. So if everybody is fine, maybe we just say, hey, this is a special case. We are making an exception to get this one merged, so that we don't have to scramble to, try to get an exception in a couple of days.
Got it.
Yeah, so
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, if everyone, Saad and Yang, we talked about it, and Michelle seems to be fine as well.
Yeah, if they allow it, I think, yeah, let's go for it. And
I am fine with merging the CAP because the end-to-end test is close to merge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people are working on it, like they are not going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
At least I hope.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
I would
Yeah.
merge it.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, let's just go for it. Yeah.
Thanks.
cool. Thank you both. Next is SE Linux relabeling using mount options, CSI driver API change. Going to beta this cycle.
CAP was merged, including PRR.
Nice. Cool. Thank you, Jan. Looks like that's on track. Next is CSI migration stuff. So first up is removing entry GCE. We were looking for volunteers for this one. Did any update on that? Did we find?
No, haven't heard anything from that. And also, I guess this is waiting until, right, this will be a 127 at the soonest, maybe an extra version because it just went GA in 125.
Got it. So meaning hold off till 128 on this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll put 128 here. And we'll stop getting status updates on this. In the meantime, if anyone's interested in doing this work, it's always nice to do work where you're removing a bunch of code. So this might be a fun project. So if anybody on the call is interested, please reach out to Matt or myself or any of the leads. We can get you in touch with the right folks. Cool. Thanks, Matt.
Hi, Saad. This is Manu from Amazon. Just wanted to understand a little bit more about what this work entails. We might be looking to help contribute in the future. And if this is not something that's especially time sensitive, we might be able to take this up in the future.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So as I understand it, the work here is finishing up the CSI transition. So there was a bunch of old in-tree volume plugins for some cloud providers and a handful of storage vendors. And what we did as a SIG is try to transition most of those to CSI, doing the CSI migration work. As that work finishes up, the remaining follow-up is to remove the in-tree code at some point. And so effectively, this means, going in and deleting that code and making sure that you test to make sure that the CSI migration still works and things like that. So that would be the high level work, but folks like Matt can walk you through the actual details of what needs to be done. For example, in this case, it's the GCE plugin, and you'll see items for all these different plugins where we actually need to go and do this. So.
Got it. Yeah, maybe I'll reach out to you offline to get some more context around these things. I think we may be able to help in some of these activities, so we can review this one. So.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
We
Cool.
already-
That's great. I think the best way to get in touch is over Slack. So.
Okay.
And we already did it for Cinder, for OpenStack Cinder. So there is a pull request that can be taken as an example. And nobody complained so far.
Nice.
Okay, great. That's helpful to know. Thanks, Jan.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks for offering, Manu, and reach out to Matt on Slack, and then we can get connected.
Yeah, will do. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thanks. Okay, so next one, I'm going to skip over VMware since that's targeting 128. And then on the AWS side, we have AWS EBS and Azure Disk also need to be removed. Last status here was also looking for volunteers, at least for the AWS EBS side. Manu, would you be interested in this one?
Yeah, so I think Eddie from our team is signed up to do this work. And
Perfect.
he's on the call, so he can provide an update.
Great.
Yeah, so no big updates for this week. I've blocked out some time to work on this next week.
Cool. Okay.
Do I remember correctly that the GCE and AWS EBS graduated CSI migration in the same release? So should we remove them in the same release?
I think GCE was supposed to be released or removed in this release, but we're waiting on volunteers, so we're pushing it.
Okay, sorry.
I think, yeah, AWS, I think we did our migration in 123, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go double check, but I think we became default in 123. So
Yeah, and G8 was at 125, I believe. So yeah, it's the same like GCE. But yeah, we can remove them at different time. No issues with that.
Cool.
And next one is the Azure Disk. And anyone have an update from Andy? Okay, presume this is still in progress. And then Azure file, we are pushing to 128. And Ceph RBD beta off by default. Any updates on this one?
So Humble said that they will update the test this Friday or by early next week. So we'll see if the test can be done. If the test can pass, then we can see if we can apply for exception, maybe for this one.
Got it. Cool. Thank you, Shing. And then SephFS, same thing, or?
No, this one, he didn't really commit on this one. So I think this one should be removed.
Got it. Okay, so I will just cross it out for now. And then Portworx, anyone?
Yeah, they didn't get back to me. I pinned Oksana, but she didn't get back to say whether they want to do it or not. So
Okay.
The answer is no.
Anybody on the call knows Portworx contacts? If you could reach out to them and ask them about this, that would be helpful.
Oh, I'm talking to the Oksana. Basically, she just says she wanted to know deadline, but after that, that's it. So basically they're not ready to do it.
Okay, so not
I can ping her again, but I already asked her a couple of times, so they didn't really commit on this one.
okay.
And it's already too
follow
late
up.
for 1.27, right? We already passed the cap merge deadline.
So let's just cross it out for this cycle and then we can check again next cycle.
And even the issue, enhancement issue was closed, like it
This
expired.
one, sometimes maybe it's because if it's linked, somehow it's like fixes this and then probably maybe that's
No,
why.
it expired like because it didn't have.
I see.
for 1
That,
year.
if that's the case, then yeah, then we can just okay, we can just rewrite it. Okay. Oh, this is very okay. Let's see why this one's closed. Okay.
Okay, we can follow up on that offline. Next is always honor reclaim policy. This is moving to beta this cycle. It looks like last status was may not have time for this in 127.
Right. Yeah, there's we didn't get time to add the E2 test, so this one is moved out to next release.
So I'll cross this one out. And then control volume mode conversion between source and target PVC.
Yeah, so the cap is merged. The E2 test got merged, so the cap is also merged.
Nice, good progress. All right, thank you, Sheng. Next up, better default storage class. This was trying to GA this cycle.
I think it's next, right? We have to wait for, I think this one.
Oh, this is 128. You're right. Yep. Okay. Then quality of service for volumes. Alpha for this cycle. How did the cap for that one go? Matt?
Oh, sorry. This is the stateful set.
This is the quality of service.
Oh, no, this did not go to alpha. We're going to do a provisional cap this cycle and do alpha the next cycle.
Got it. Okay, we'll do provisional cap for 127 and target alpha in 128. Do we want to keep tracking this for 127 or just cross it off and bring it back for 128?
I think cross off and bring it back for 128.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Matt. Next is efficient mount time handling of FS group.
Yeah, this is design only. I think it's in a similar boat to the previous one. It will be provisional. I'm still working on the cap. I've made some updates this week and I expect to have that out for review in the next week or so.
Got it. And Jonathan, do you want to keep tracking it or cross it out?
I think it's okay if we cross it out and track it for 128.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll just scratch that out. Cool, thank you. Next is robust volume manager reconstruction. This was also going beta this cycle.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it got merged.
Nice.
It's on the rec.
Cool, thanks, John. And let's move this guy up before we go to the cross sig ones. PV last phase transition time alpha for this cycle.
Again, it got merged.
Kept merged, awesome. Okay, now we can switch over to the cross sig items. The first one is non-graceful node shutdown targeting GA this cycle.
That's for 1.28.
Oh, that's 128. Okay, perfect. So then let's skip over that and grab these two. So this one is address issue PVC created by stateful set will not be auto removed, targeting beta this cycle.
Yep, this is approved for beta. PRR has been approved. The KEP template's been updated. All that stuff. So we are good to go. And then the just as it may be of general interest, part of the issue has been because of CSI migration, the cloud provider extraction, a lot of the alpha end-to-end tests were not running with a default storage class. And because as it turned out, the alpha feature flag end-to-end tests were running on GCE. And I am working on getting a kind set up, which should help with all that testing in the future to make it a bit more stable.
Cool. Progress, thank you, Matt. And then last item we have is volume expansion for stateful sets. Any update on this one? Okay, we'll mark that one as no update and come back to it next time. That is it in terms of updates. Thank you, folks. Looks like we're making good progress for 127. Switching back to our agenda doc, so miscellaneous item for announcement. SIG storage is looking for volunteers. So we mentioned some items in the planning session, but in addition to that, some areas that need help right now are investigating a better vulnerability scanning method for our projects, building tools and scripts to make it easier to do sidecar releases, and tooling to improve our issue triage. So if anybody is interested in helping with these items, please reach out to Michelle and she can get you started on guiding you on where to get started here. With that, any other items to discuss today?
Yeah, so I've left some comments on the QoS cap. If Matt could look at that and answer some of them, that'd be good. Do you plan to release like an updated version of the caps anytime soon?
Matt, this might be for you.
Yes, we have been preempted by a couple of things, but we're planning on getting back to discussing the cap. And just as an aside, it's like our hope for 128 is like not to do a final time scramble right before the freeze, but to actually get it approved in the next couple months. So yes, we are going to be hoping to get back to that end of this month and work on it in March.
Cool, thank you.
I had a quick question, just a matter of process more than anything else. If there are questions on the KEP, is this typically the right forum to discuss those questions, or would there be like more detailed discussions elsewhere?
I think this is a good forum, like, especially if it's a overview question. And then, if it turns out to get into a much more detailed conversation, then this is a good forum for figuring out a meeting to make, and then we can kind of break off and discuss things. But I think, at least in my experience, this has been a good place to raise issues because that it gets good visibility. It also works out pretty well to start conversations on Slack.
Got it. Yeah, I was asking because we've been having some internal discussions regarding how we expect the KEP to work for the AWS EBS CSI driver, and that's what's driving the questions that Rishabh is asking. So just wanted to understand if this was the right place to bring that up or not. So
yeah, absolutely. Like this is exactly what we'd hope would happen. I think having any feedback you have on this is, yeah, that's exactly the
good.
goal.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Manu, do you want to elaborate on that now, or do you want to do that in a follow-up meeting?
I think it would be helpful if Matt goes through the questions and gets the chance to think about the responses in a little bit more detail. Mostly, I think the concerns that we have are that, you know, there are certain areas where the KEP seems to be somewhat ambiguous and doesn't necessarily specify the correct behavior, and we'd like to make sure that we can get clarity on those items, because I think that will determine how usable this functionality would be for our customers. So that's basically what it is.
Cool, sounds good. So I think Matt, you can follow up offline, and if needed, we can use a subsequent meeting to discuss further.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, with that, any other items for discussion today? All right, thanks a lot, folks. I'll see you next time.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.